So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by just making the a little basic, really basic sketch on here before I do any painting. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the horizon line. So I'm gonna put that right about in the middle. And you can do that like lower down if you want to have more sky, or you can have more water, because I'm gonna do like water down here, and then the sky up here and some buildings, like a city skyline, and then I'm gonna do like the moon and maybe some fireworks and stuff. So if you want to have like more of the sky or more of the water, you can move the horizon line based on how much space you want to do. But that's like as much I'm gonna do now, because I want to go ahead and start painting the sky, and then once that dries is when we can start doing like more sketching with the city, the buildings and the moon and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off. I have my palette here, and I'm gonna take a couple different colors. I have the magenta color, and I'm gonna squeeze just a little bit of that. I'm not gonna use a whole lot of this color, because I want it to be night and not like daytime or sunset. It's gonna be nighttime, because that's when the fireworks are out. And then purple. And then I have this color. It's called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's just this dark blue color. So I'm gonna use that. And I'm hardly using any of each of these colors, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take this light blue color as well. Oh, and I need to do white. So I have the white. I have a separate white paint because I ran out of the white that comes in the set. So obviously if you have this white still from the set, then you can use that. I just ran out of it, so yeah. I don't like how it comes out of the thing though. It's annoying, because you always, when you try to get it out, you always get a whole bunch. But that's okay. So there we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and start painting. So I have a pretty big size brush here. It is, I don't know what the numbers really mean on brushes or whatever, but if you do and you pay attention to that, this one's half. It's a glaze brush. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that. I just look at the size of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the dark blue color. Take about that much. These brushes are brand new and I really like them. So here we go, let's try it out. But I'm gonna take this color and just start painting it on here. And in the last video I used a regular canvas, but these are canvas panels, which just means that like they are just like really thin, and it's not like the whole canvas thing. And this, I like using these because they don't take up as much space, and they're a little bit cheaper. So I'm just gonna put this color kind of at the top, and you can, if you want to thin it out a little bit, you can get some water. Oh, I didn't even get any. You can get some water and kind of thin it out a little bit, but don't add too much water, because then it's not really gonna work. It's just gonna be really like smudged, and it's not gonna blend very well. So now I'm gonna take some purple and I'm gonna put that in there. And if it's not blending really that well, you can add a little bit more of the blue as well, and it'll help to blend it better. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Nice pretty purple. I'm gonna add a lot of the purple because I feel like that really looks like a pretty nice sky color. And you know, as you get closer to the bottom, to the horizon, you don't have to worry as much about blending it as well, because we're going to be doing the city skyline there. But I still like to go all the way to the bottom with the paint, just in case, you know, one of the buildings is really short or something. So I still have paint for the background next to it. A little bit more purple, and then we'll be good. So now I'm going to take the purple, and I'm gonna mix in some of the pink. I don't want to go straight with the pink because I don't think that's gonna look very good. So I'm just getting kind of a more pinkish purple color and blending that. Get a little bit of water here. Make sure you get all the little white crevices in the canvas filled in. And I get a little bit more of this blue right here. And if it's not really blending well, you can kind of go like this in circular motions and then blend it out like that. And then it kind of makes it blend a little bit easier, which is nice. I think that's good. And I'm gonna go ahead and rinse off my brush. And then dry it off. And then I'm gonna get some white. These paintbrushes, since they have white hairs, it makes it look really, the color just stays there, but that's okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and just blend some white in from the bottom up. And you can turn it if you need to. I like to turn it because it just makes it easier sometimes. Get me a little bit of water. I'm gonna add some more. You can kind of just keep adding the colors until you get a nice blended sky. And this is something you can like kind of customize. So if you want to add more like pinks to it, or if you want to add not as much purple or more blue or whatever you want to do. Now I'm going to take some of that light blue, and I'm just going to add a little bit in the top area, because I think that would be pretty. And it doesn't look very good right now, but like I said, the skyline or the buildings will kind of cover some of that bottom up. Ran out of purple. Got me some more of that. So you can kind of just play around with it and get a nice blended skyline. So if you don't want to do the colors in this order, you can do that if you want to put them in a different order. So if you wanted to do purple first and then maybe pink towards the bottom, you can do that. Whatever you want to do. Okay. So now I have this nice blended sky looking here. And I'm going to rinse off my brush now. And I'm going to take, so for the water, you want to start off with a different color than what you did right here. Otherwise, it's going to just blend together and it's not going to look really that good. So I'm going to start off with the dark blue. And it won't be a perfect reflection, but the buildings will reflect into the water. So it'll be okay. And it's kind of hard to do a reflection with acrylic paint because it dries so quickly that, so like if you were using oil paint or something, the color, you would paint the buildings onto there and then you would kind of use your brush and kind of just smudge it a little bit. because oil paint doesn't dry very fast. Sometimes oil paint can take a week to dry, but acrylic paint dries within minutes. So you can't really do it like that. So you kind of have to paint it so that it looks reflective. So it's okay to go ahead and do the water. But oil paint's not really something you would use for this kind of painting. So that's why I'm using acrylic. And acrylic is a lot less messy. So I just went ahead and did some of the dark blue and then some of the light blue. And now I'm going to go in with that purple. Give me some water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint most of this purple down here, and then I'm going to do some black kind of in the corners. But like I said, you can do it however you want. It doesn't matter, because I mean, the sky is always different. And I mean, if you look at the sky at night, it's mostly going to look black or dark blue, but it's nice to add some more colors to it. So, all right, now I've gotten that. I'm going to go ahead and get some black, squeeze that on. It's called lamp black, but it's the only black that comes in the set, so it's just black. Nothing special about it, just black. And then I'm going to put that into the corners here, and then I'm gonna take, I'm running out of purple fast, gotta get some more of that again, and I'm just gonna take the purple and I'm gonna kind of put it down here and blend it together. You can add some black into the sky too if you want, but I don't really want to. I want to make the sky and the water look a little bit different so that they're not like exactly the same. Right. So once you have it blended how you want, you can go ahead and let it dry. Just make sure that before you let it dry, you have it how you want it, because if you let it dry and then just like it's not blended the way you want, you can't go back and fix it. So, and yeah, I know that it's not really the perfect reflection because it would start with purple and then go to blue, but I think it's pretty this way, so that's okay. But I'm just gonna go ahead and let this dry. So now that this is dry, like I said, acrylic paint dries really fast, so you don't really have to worry about taking forever. I just waited a couple minutes and it's already dry. So, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to take something circular. So I have this, the lid to the white paint, and I'm gonna put it in the corner right here. Well, you can put it on any corner. You can put it right in the middle if you want. Whatever you want to do. I'm actually gonna move it a little over this way. And I'm just gonna trace that. So now I have a circle, obviously. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this brush. It's about this size. It is 6 if you want to know the number. And I'm gonna paint the whole inside of the circle white. And if it doesn't go on like completely right now, that's okay. That's just because the color underneath it is a lot darker. So don't worry if it doesn't go on completely how you want it to. And it doesn't have to fill like it doesn't have to be completely like filled in. Like it can be a little bit transparent. Just try your best to get along the shape of the circle. Oh, and if you're wondering, this is gonna be the moon, by the way. I guess I should have said that. But yeah, this is gonna be the moon. So I'm gonna turn it so I can get this shape better. And if you go a little bit outside the line, don't worry about it. I already did a couple times, and that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead, and it's picked up some of the purple from underneath, but that's okay. I think that actually looks pretty cool. But I'm not just gonna leave it like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of those colors that I had before, so you can take the blue, you can take the purple, and I'm gonna kind of just put these colors randomly in here. I'm gonna put some white in there too so that it can blend better. And then I'm gonna take, I have this sponge. Actually, this is huge. I should have cut it down a little bit, but I don't have any scissors, so that's okay. And I'm gonna kind of blend it. Oh my gosh, this is a huge sponge. That's okay though. Okay. Well, now it's gotten outside of the circle, but that's all right. And then I'm gonna take the white again, and I'm gonna kind of go over it a little bit more. And I'm kind of just trying to give the moon some color, some texture. So I'm just doing like really small little brush strokes. And if you want to use a palette knife, you can. If you don't want to use a sponge, you don't have to. You can just use your brush. Whatever works. So now I've gotten this painted. If you got outside of the lines, you can touch it up by taking a small brush with a little bit of water on it, not a whole lot, just a little bit, and kind of just going over. Well, if it's dried, that's not really gonna work, and mine's dried already. So you're gonna, if it's dried, you can just paint over with the color that's right there. But just try your best not to get outside the lines because it's kind of a hassle to fix. So instead of using the sponge like I did and not cutting it, just cut the sponge, because now I'm regretting it and I should have just got scissors so I could cut it. But it's a little too late now, so that's okay. But if you do get outside the lines, you can just use paint and go with that color right in that area, and then blend it out. Like this. So, my camera decided not to film that last part, or last couple parts, so I apologize for that. But luckily the part that I did wasn't too hard, so I can just explain it. But what I did once the moon had dried was I made these stars in the sky. So what I did was I took some white paint and then I watered it down. I still have some here, so that it was a little bit thinner. And then I took, yeah, I didn't, but I have this toothbrush here. And yes, it's weird, I have a toothbrush, but you might have seen this before on other videos. But what I did was I just ran my finger, here, let me do it on here. I ran my finger along the toothbrush like this, and it kind of makes stars. So you can see right here on the palette, I just did that. But you can kind of just do that. And then while I'm explaining, I'm gonna go ahead and touch up what I just did. But then I went ahead and I used a pencil and I sketched out my city skyline. So when you do that, you want to make sure that your buildings are like all different heights, all different sizes and shapes. So you can see like this one kind of has a triangle top and it's got like a line sticking out of it. This one's wider than the rest. Not as wide as this one, but still. This one's really tall. This one's really short. This one's got a weird roof. So you can kind of just make them all a little bit different. Otherwise, it's gonna look like a brick wall if they're all exactly the same. And you don't really want it to look like a brick wall. But once you have the pencil done and you've sketched it out, you can go ahead and paint it in with a small brush with white, or I mean not white, black. So that's basically what I did there. So I know it was a lot that I just lost the footage for, but it wasn't too hard of a step to explain. So if you want to pause the video and go ahead and do that, you can. And I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So I have this color right here. It's called lemon yellow. So I'm gonna squeeze some of that out on my palette, and I'm gonna mix in a little bit of white. So I have a small brush that I'm using here. The number is 3/0. Like I said, I don't really know what these numbers mean, but if you know what they mean and you want to know what it is, there you go. So I'm just gonna mix it with some white so it's not so bright. There we go. I kind of want it a little bit bright, so there we go. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this color and I'm gonna make little windows in the buildings. So you can kind of just make sure you can see. Yeah. So I'm just gonna put like a little mark. Several marks to make little windows. And the white that I was just using was still watered down from the stars, so you'd want to get regular white again. But I'm just gonna go ahead and make these windows. So I've gotten these buildings done. Really lights up the picture a lot, in my opinion, which I think is really nice. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start working on these fireworks. So fireworks are all different colors. You can pick whatever colors you want to use, but I'm kind of just gonna use the variety that kind of matches with these colors that I already have on here. So I wonder if this is dried up yet. Probably. Oh, no, it's not. Good. Okay. So I'm going to kind of use these colors that I already have on here. So I have the pink, and then the purple, and the light blue, and yellow. So I'm just going to use those colors. And I'm going to take this small brush here. The size is 3/0. So it's just a small brush, and I'm gonna start off with white, and I'm gonna kind of just use that to make the shape of the fireworks. So you kind of want to start in the middle and then make like shapes coming out of it like this, I guess. So that's kind of what the firework looks like. And like the buildings, make them all different sizes and shapes. So you can make some small, you can make some big. but I'm just doing this with white for now, and then later I'll show you how I'm gonna do the colors. So now I have 5 fireworks. You can make as many as you want, but 5 is really all that can fit on this page here. So that's what I'm gonna do. But now I'm gonna take these colors, so I'm gonna just start with pink so it can kind of contrast from the background for the example. But I'm just gonna, I'm gonna like go along the white. So like next to where I did the white, I'm gonna do the color. And it'll kind of make it glow a little bit more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this to all of these fireworks. I'm also kind of making like a color, like a lighter shade of that color, so I'm just mixing pink and white, and then I'm kind of going from the middle and kind of like putting it on there as well, kind of on top of where I did the white, and then I'm still doing like the pink next to it. Okay, so now I have these nice pretty fireworks that I really like. I'm happy with these. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my next step, which is the reflection in the water of the buildings. Sorry, I lost the word. But I'm gonna take the big brush, the one that says 1/2 half, and I gotta squeeze out some more black. And you wanna be extra careful when you're doing this, because if you aren't, you're gonna have to redo the water. So you just wanna be really careful when you're doing this. So I'm actually gonna take a bunch of water on my brush, kind of make a pile of water over here, and then add a little bit of black to it. See, the black is really intense, so you wanna make sure that you're being extra careful. So let me think about how I wanna do this. So I'm gonna take let's see. Let me just try one out and then I'll see how it works. Alright, that shouldn't work. So, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna paint these buildings back on here like I did before. So I'm gonna kind of just like make a reflection in the water of the building. So you kind of just want to make the same shape in the water as the building is next to it, but upside down. So that's essentially what you're doing here. Try to make it the same height and everything so that it looks as close to this building as you can get it. And the paint is kind of watered down. I didn't use that one that I watered down a whole bunch, but I'm kind of just wiping a lot of it off before I put it onto the canvas, because that way it will not be completely solid and it'll look more like it's reflected into the water. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and take that yellow color that I was using before, and I'm going to use a small brush. This one is number 3, so it's this size. And I'm just going to water it down a whole bunch. And kind of make these little... I'm going to make the windows, and then I'm going to kind of dot my finger onto it. That way it kind of smears it a little bit, if you want to. But don't do like the same bright color. You kind of want to make it a little lighter, so you can use white. That way it'll kind of mute the color a little bit. So I have one more thing that I want to do before I finish this up, just to kind of make it more obvious that this is for New Year's. But I'm going to take this brush here, number 6. It's kind of flat and smallish. I'm going to wet it a little bit. And then I'm going to take some white. And I'm going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to do this with pencil first, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to take my pencil and on the bottom, kind of in the middle, I'm going to write 2022 to represent the new year. And then I'm going to paint that onto there. Actually, I'm not going to use that big of a brush. I'm going to use something smaller, so it's a 3/01, whatever that means. It's kind of just small like this. And I'm going to paint that on there. Okay, and that is it. You can sign it, but I think I'm gonna sign mine on the back, since I don't really want it to be over here for some reason, because it's gonna kind of look weird, I think, with the whole painting. So I'm just gonna sign it on the back. But that's it. That's the whole painting. Happy New Year.